Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Sam. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a reading vlog where I'm reading the number of pages as I picked up my phone from the previous week. So I've noticed that I have been on my phone a little bit more often and frequently than I would like to be. I know that a very common vlog style is to swap your screen time for reading time. I just don't have the time in the day to read for 4+ hours. So instead I decided to do the swap the number of phone pickups for a number of pages. So in the same place in your settings, if you just scroll down from the time spent on your phone, there's also a section for the number of times you picked up your phone throughout the day. So I'm going to be going off of that and reading the number of pages each day at a minimum. So because I film on my phone, I can't actually show you as I'm filming, but I'll pop in a screenshot of how many times I picked up my phone last Monday. So I picked up my phone 131 times last Monday. So that means we're going to be reading 131 pages at least. I have a feeling that most of the days I will be reading more pages than the number of times that I picked up my phone, just because I'm in a very reading mood and I can usually read at least a little bit more than the number of pickups that I had. So I'm really excited to be doing this vlog, and hopefully it'll help me pick up my book a little bit more and stay off my phone a little bit more. I am also currently between books right now, so I'm not currently reading anything, but I'm going to be starting 2 new books today. The first is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I'm so excited to pick this up. My hold finally became ready in the library. I know that the Once Upon a Broken Heart series I think is more loved than this one, but I still think that the plot of this book sounds really interesting, and I'm very excited to start it. From what I understand, there's this game or event that takes place, and our main character, it's like an invite only event, and our main character is invited to the event, and you have to solve these clues or kind of do like a scavenger hunt sort of thing in order to get to the end and win the prize or whatever. So I'm very intrigued. And then the second book that I'm going to be starting today is Powerless by Elsie Silver. Emily and I are buddy reading this together. I'm very excited to read another book by Elsie Silver. I'm absolutely loving all of her books right now, even though I've only read 2, but very excited to continue the Chestnut Springs series. I believe we're following Jasper and Sloane, so childhood friends to lovers. I think hockey, ballerina, it's like sports romance, but also like small town Yeehaw Ranch vibes. So very excited to be reading both of these books today. I am going to the office today, so we'll see how much clips I can do. That's all for now. Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. So I wanted to give a little wrap up on how I did yesterday with my pages. So I did end up reading 100 pages of Caraval. I am really enjoying it so far. I don't love any of our characters that we've met so far. It reads pretty young, which is understandable. It is a YA. But I feel like our main character so far is kind of still just letting other people dictate what she is doing and not really taking charge of anything herself. But I do really love the setting. I think it's really fun and whimsical. It kind of feels like Alice in Wonderland, where my kind of crazy, unbelievable things are happening. I'm sorry about these sun lines. I have you propped up in my shutters, and the sun is at a really weird angle because I'm filming a little bit later than usual. But the setting is really fun and it's pretty interesting so far. So excited to continue. I also read 60 pages of Powerless by Elsie Silver. I think, like I mentioned, I'm buddy reading this with Emily, so we're only reading like 5 chapters a day, so it's a little bit better. Again, I am enjoying this one so far, but I'm not like immediately obsessed with this one like I was with Hopeless. I can never get the names of each of these books straight, and I don't know why. But we're following Jasper and Sloane. Sloane was about to be married when she found out that when something happens and she gets on out of there with Jasper. I love the little snippets of them growing up and sort of those like past scenes. I think that's really fun and so adorable. Jasper is such a sweetheart, and there's been a number of funny lines, so really enjoying that. And then I also started Pucking Wild yesterday. I only read 18 pages and it was just like a little bonus scene from a previous book, so I haven't really gotten into the story yet, but I'm intrigued so far. So yesterday I was supposed to read 131 pages and I ended up reading 178 pages, so definitely read more than the number of pages that I was supposed to, which is great. For today, I'm also supposed to read 131 pages, so just going to keep going along with these 3 books, and we'll see where we end up tonight. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. So let's do a little wrap up of how I did yesterday. For Tuesday, I was supposed to be reading 131 pages, and I don't know how this happened, but I went feral yesterday. So for Pucking Wild, I ended up reading 56 pages. I'm like getting into the plot of the story. The first like couple chapters were very focused on the relationship from the previous books, which was fine, but their relationship, I don't know. There's just something about their characteristics together that have really been bothering me in the recent books. So it was cute to see like their wedding, but it was also, I kind of just wanted to move it along because we've already had a lot of stories with those characters and I really want to focus on our new characters, which we are focusing on our characters now. We're following Tess, who is the best friend to Rachel, who's the main character of the first books. And then we're also following Ryan, who is on the same hockey team as the guys in the first book. Tess is going through a divorce and something just happened at work. So I have a feeling that she's going to be moving down to Jacksonville for a little while and their relationship will sort of be able to go from there. I really like the two of them. They're really cute. Like together, their interactions are really cute and Tess is really funny, so I'm really enjoying that one so far. And then I ended up reading 121 pages of Caraval yesterday. Definitely like in the middle of the story, kind of getting the meat of everything that's going on. And although I do like this setting, I feel like it's very whimsical and I think I said yesterday that it reminds me of Alice in Wonderland, sort of the like fantastical world that the events don't really make sense and strange things are happening that you have to decipher whether it's real or not real. And I know that this is a YA book, but I feel like there's other YA books that don't do this, or like they give the reader some credit. I just feel like Scarlett is incredibly naive and not very intelligent, which is really annoying. She really just kind of follows other people's plans or decisions, and which makes sense because that's how she grew up. But numerous times she was told that things that happen in Caraval, like it's just part of the game, it's not real necessarily. And yet she continues to make the same decisions and the same mistakes over and over again to like make these poor choices and doesn't think through anything fully before she just does something and doesn't make sense. I can't really explain it without necessarily spoiling anything, or also don't just know how to describe it at all. But I'm not a fan of the main character, which unfortunately is diminishing my enjoyment. This book is also very predictable. We got like a twist in like the last chapter that I had read, and I saw it coming as soon as we learned a little bit more about this character. Yeah, I don't love our main character, but the plot and the setting is really interesting, and I'm still intrigued to see where it goes. And then lastly, I feel like I've been saying the wrong book name this whole time, but then I read Powerless by Elsie Silver, the 5 chapters for the buddy read that I am doing with Emily. Yesterday's chapters were 53 pages. I'm starting to like it a little bit more. I feel like we've gotten to see more of who Jasper is and his character. He definitely has gone through a lot, so it's interesting, and the past few chapters were incredibly painful. Just sort of see him deal with his like mental health and past traumas, and his relationship with Sloane is just, they're so cute. I love the banter in all of Elsie Silver's books. She does a really good job at banter and relationships within the whole family. I think their like chemistry as a whole group is so adorable. I feel like up until this point there hasn't been like a ton of movement in terms of plot. Like, yes, things have been happening, but it's felt just a tiny bit slow. But still absolutely love Elsie Silver's writing. I love the characters there. I feel like this one's really gonna hurt. So anyway, if you were keeping track, that's a total of 230 pages yesterday, which was 99 pages more than I was supposed to read. So that's insane. I feel like you can really tell where my mental stability is at when I read this much. But also, I've just been in the biggest reading mood, and I was watching some like book haul videos this morning, and I just continually get this feeling in waves where there are too many books and not enough time, and I just want to be reading all of them at one time. So yeah. So for today's pages that I have to read, I literally just checked this and I don't remember 100% how many pages it was, but I'll put it up here. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to read 163 pages today. I'm just going to continue the books that I've been reading. Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. I tried to adjust the settings because I'm extremely washed out, even though the sun is barely up yet, but I wanted to wrap up my page count from yesterday. So I was supposed to be reading 163 pages. So first book that I read yesterday, I read 110 pages of Caraval. I have just over 100 pages left. I would like to take back what I said yesterday. What I thought happened and thought was revealed was a lie. So I'd like to take back what I said yesterday. I still really, I'm still enjoying the world. I think it's very interesting because the way that Stephanie Garber has written this book makes you not trust anything. But I think that was done on purpose, and I'm kind of just waiting for everything to be explained properly to understand what happened. And I don't know if we're going to be getting that in this book or like if we're going to get that later in the series. There was a character that dropped um, in the chapters that I read yesterday, and I don't know where they came from. I don't know why they're there. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and I can really tell that I'm not fully enjoying this book because there have been countless times where I have been reading and I'm not necessarily thinking of something else that's keeping me distracted from absorbing what's happening, but I find myself, I'm just reading the words, but I'm not processing them at all. So there will be like sections go by or paragraphs go by, and I'm reading something and I realize that something has happened, and I'm like, wait, like, did this just come up now? Have they been alluding to this in the last couple paragraphs, couple sentences? Like, did I miss something? I haven't ever gone back to check, like, reread sections. Because I figured I'm just gonna piece it together eventually, and none of the characters are very reliable, and the plot or like the setting is not very reliable. So most of the stuff that's happening, I kind of just think that it's part of the game and it's like some illusion or something. So we'll see. I'm going to be finishing this book today and we'll see where we end up. I read my 5 chapters of Powerless, right? Powerless yesterday, and those were 42 pages. I'm still feeling the same way. I'm not absolutely obsessed with this one. I enjoy our characters. I enjoy the banter. I am enjoying these like emotionally damaged characters, I guess, and learning about their trauma and learning about where it comes from and how like their relationship is, and also like working through each of their traumas and situations that they are going through. But I feel like there's not much really happening, and it's just maybe it's just that it wasn't what I expected it to be. I feel like some of the traumas that Sloane is experiencing, they do make a lot of sense for her character, and what she's gone through, but there's some things that are mentioned. I'm like, this was never alluded to or picked up like previously. It was just kind of put here. So I don't know. They are also, it's like a childhood friends to lovers, except they've both been pining for each other for years. And like for the age that they're at and the situations that they're kind of in, they just need to have a conversation, babe. They just need to have a conversation. And it's kind of feeling like miscommunication as opposed to just mutual pining, because there have been numerous times when there's been a line that says, oh, some like description of one of their bodies and what they want to do to the other person, but oh no, we're just friends. I can't, they don't feel about me. They don't feel like that about me. And it's like, but and maybe it's because we're in both of their heads and they're both having the same thoughts, that it is really frustrating. That's kind of where I'm at with that one. And then lastly, because I was only at 152 pages, I read one chapter, which was exactly 11 pages of Pucking Wild. I don't have much to say about that. Tess's ex is awful. I hate him. And I'm very excited to see what happens next. I'm really enjoying this one. And I don't know if it's because I'm not like 100% vibing with the other two books that I'm reading, but I'm really enjoying this one. I think it's a lot of fun and I'm excited to see where it goes. For today, for the number of pickups that I had of my phone last week, I picked up my phone 164 times. So we're going to be reading 164 pages today. I have a feeling that I'm going to be able to do that no problem. I have been reading a little bit more than normal this week and my eyes are tired. I can really only do so many pages and I basically binged a book on the weekend and I usually need a couple days to recover and I have not given myself that time. So I'm going to read 164 pages today and hopefully a little bit more because I'm still in such a reading mood. Like I just want to read everything all at the same time and I just can't wait to read the books that I'm reading, finish the books that I'm reading, pick new books, and like we're only halfway through March as I'm filming this and I'm so excited for books and videos that I have planned for April. So that's it. Let's go read. Okay, hi. I am jumping around here quickly just to do a little check-in because I finished Caraval. There ended up only being 70 pages left for me to finish, so I ended up finishing this very quickly. I was really hovering between 2.5 and 3 stars for this one, and luckily the ending bumped it up a little bit for me to a 3-star. I think it wrapped up really well and I really liked all of the explanation that was given. It really explained the entire book well and explained all of the like strange occurrences and appearances from people. So a solid 3 stars. Did have a large focus on like the relationship between the two sisters and how they really loved each other and they cared about each other, but I feel like it was just told to us, but I don't feel like I saw enough proof of their relationship for me to sort of believe that Scarlett did care for Donatella. Yeah, it was fine, but nothing great. So I will be continuing this series because I am curious to see what's going to happen next or in the rest of the series. And I do want to read this whole series before jumping into Once Upon a Broken Heart. Hello everybody, happy Friday. Yes, I'm wearing the same sweater, different day. I wanted to give a little check-in on how my reading was yesterday. Unfortunately, I did not hit my reading goal yesterday. The plans just kind of got derailed, so that's fine. I was supposed to read 164 pages yesterday. I read the last 70 pages of Caraval, which I thought I had more than that. I thought the book was 450 pages, but it wasn't, so that was kind of a nice surprise. But I already talked about my full feelings about that book in the last clip. And then I read my 5 chapters of Powerless by Elsie Silver. That was 55 pages, 54 pages. I am enjoying it a lot more. I really like how Elsie Silver writes her characters. And Jasper especially, because he has gone through so much and has so much trauma that he has to work through. And she just does a really good job at writing the scenes where he's vulnerable. And there were some good chapters, so that was good. And then I did end up reading like 22 pages of Pucking Wild. Not too much happened. I am really enjoying it. I think it's fun. We're kind of getting, I guess, the sort of plot or occurrences that happen that are going to force our two main characters together. But I'm enjoying it. But overall, that was like 146 pages or something. So not quite, but I did read many more pages the past couple days. So it does make up for it. I still am reading roughly the number of times compared to my phone. For today's pages, I have to read 158 pages today. I am going to pick up my Kindle here for a little bit, and I'm just between Pucking Wild and Powerless, but I think I'm just going to read a couple chapters of Pucking Wild right now. I'm on chapter 14, page 112. So. Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I did not end up filming any clips after the last clip on Friday. I really thought that I was going to actually film for this vlog on the weekend, but I still haven't been able to film around other people. But we're just gonna do a little catch up this morning and chat about how much I read and how much I was supposed to read. So on Friday, I was supposed to read 158 pages. I ended up reading 36 pages from Powerless, which Emily and I, like I've reiterated over and over, we read 5 chapters roughly a day. So that was our 5 chapters. And then I also read 128 pages of Pucking Wild. So I ended up reading a total of 164 pages on Friday. So I met my page goal for the day, which is great because I didn't get that on Thursday. Then on Saturday, I was supposed to read 102 pages. And again, I read the 5 chapters from Powerless, which was 45 pages. And then I read 70 pages from Pucking Wild. So that ended up being 115 pages. And then on Sunday, I was supposed to read 70 pages. And again, I read 5 chapters from Powerless, which was 45 pages again. And I read 112 pages from Pucking Wild, which ended up being 157 pages on Sunday. So overall, this challenge went really well. For the majority of the days, I read over the number of pages I was supposed to, and quite a bit over that number of pages. I typically read roughly 150 pages a day anyway, so this definitely wasn't like an out of the norm, crazy, wild reading week for me. But overall, I'm really happy with how this reading week went. I did want to film this wrap up now because I had just a little bit left of both books that I was reading, and I wanted to give like a final wrap up of them and give like a little review because I did end up finishing both of them one day later. So for Powerless by Elsie Silver, this is Jasper and Sloane's story. Childhood friends to lovers, sports, romance. He's a hockey player and she's a ballerina, and is also small town. So Jasper Gervais was like taken in to the Eaton family because of Jasper's childhood and his like traumatic past. So he's kind of like an honorary Eaton. And Sloane is the Eaton's cousin. I did really enjoy this one. I ended up rating it 4 stars. It took me a long time to get into this one and connect to our characters. I really enjoy how Elsie Silver showcases mental health and her various characters of vulnerability. I think the way that Jasper's trauma was handled really well, and I liked seeing his perspective and sort of his like thought process. But I did wish that we got more from Sloane's story. There was some trauma that was just sort of felt like it was just thrown in for her story, which does make sense to her character, but I wish that we got a few like snippets or a scene that you can actually see these things taking place, as opposed to feeling like it was just thrown in as an afterthought. They are childhood friends, but they kind of both had unrequited love, and I understand it when they were younger because there was like a slight age gap between them, but at the ages that they are now, or even like a couple years prior to when the story took place, they really should have just had a conversation and it would all be figured out. There was also a couple scenes, there's also a couple like spicy scenes that just like gave me the ick, and I'm not going to elaborate because I don't want to spoil anything, but a solid 4 stars for me. I really absolutely love Elsie Silver's writing, and some of the scenes and quotes that are from this book definitely just like cut me open and buried themselves into a little corner of my heart. So some of this just really hit home for me, and overall I did really enjoy it, but because it took me so long to get into, I can't rate it higher than 4 stars. Then for Pucking Wild by Emily Rath, this is a continuation of the Jacksonville Rays series. We're following Tess and Ryan, who have a brief interaction in one of the past books. Tess is currently trying to go through a separation from her ex and is also 10 years older than Ryan, who is one of the guys on the hockey team, and he's only 22, just like this little puppy. If you know, you know. I really liked this one. The difficult thing was there were some aspects in this book that were very similar to what was going on in Powerless. So there was times when I was switching between the two books. I was like, wait, what happened to you? What's your like past? That was entirely a me problem. I really liked this one. I loved the connection between Tess and Ryan. Their characters felt so real, and I just really enjoyed how Emily Rath laid out the plot and kind of like entwined their lives. I just think it was done really well. The spice was very good, incredibly spicy book. So if that's not what you're into, same with Powerless, they're both very spicy. The Jacksonville Rays series is, I can only describe it as kinky. There's like many different kinks and things involved in those books. So if that's not your thing, definitely stay away. But if you are into extremely spicy books, I would highly recommend. I think I liked this book better than I liked the other ones in the series so far. I just really loved Tess and Ryan and their connection, and I don't know if it's because we're seeing the original characters from a different perspective or what, but they're okay separately. Like each of the characters individually are okay, but when they're all together, it's a little like, So again, I rated this 4 stars. I absolutely loved this one. It just didn't give me the 5-star feeling. But that is everything for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed this reading vlog. This was a lot of fun. If you have any suggestions for what kind of reading vlogs you would like to see, let me know down below. And also let me know if you have read any of these books yourself. I hope that you have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!